The biggest mistake of the world community is that Russia, which has de facto already mutated into a terrorist enclave, is not recognized as a de jure terrorist country. All lines of behavior of the Kremlin and the population under its jurisdiction cry out about fascization and general savagery, presenting ever new crimes not only of the regime, but of the bearer of the Russian world itself, which has turned into a horde of cannibal sectarians. A healthy world community would recognize Russia as a terrorist state after Bucha alone, which would make it possible to provide a legal basis for legal actions to destroy the enclave with this Bolshevik red mold. Instead, the UN tolerates Nebenzhi's rudeness, meekly accepting one racist veto after another. Russia has blocked UN monitoring of international sanctions against North Korea to prevent scrutiny of the growing arms supply chain between Pyongyang and Moscow. The UN is obediently wiping itself off. Civil aircraft pilots flying over the Baltic region are reporting an increase in missing or spoofed GPS signals. Sooner or later, this could lead to disaster. Isn't this terrorism? There is no need to talk about nuclear blackmail and threats against the Baltic countries. The public sighs with concern. Scholz, laced with fear, has already fallen into political isolation due to his obstinacy in preventing the supply of Taurus missiles to Ukraine. But a holy place is never empty, and now the bought and rebought Schroeder is already shining in the spotlight, reporting on the benefits of his friendship with Putin. Games with shit lead to cholera. The outbreak of the Red Bolshevik plague has already occurred. And no matter how much the frightened Macron hits the punching bag, time is lost. The terrorists in law were given the opportunity to rearrange their enclave on the rails of a militaristic schematosis, and now try to strangle this monster with sanctions. The terrorist attack in Crocus City was planned by the Kremlin a long time ago, judging by the fact that back in November 2023, the Agalarovs pledged this asset to Gazprombank. The Agalarovs are old friends of Dmitry Peskov and other Kremlin evil spirits. They serve Putin and the KGB faithfully, and willingly agreed to provide a platform for this bloody show. We emphasize, the agreement was reached more than 4 months ago. The performers were most likely professional instructors, possibly brought specially from Syria, and the group of Tajiks was a dummy group recruited to play the role of switchmen. They took the blow on themselves, along with their random surroundings. The terrorist attack itself was necessary for Putin in order to give the terrorist enclave the flair of a victim. Because the Kremlin has big plans for the summer. And although the devil's range of scenarios is wide, one of the most likely plans looks like this. Simultaneously with the start of the racist offensive along the entire Ukrainian front, a series of monstrous terrorist attacks will occur in European countries, sending European society and state institutions into political knockout. The Allies will have no time for Ukraine, they will deal with the terrorists and investigate what happened. Perhaps it was this plan that was reported to Macron, which was the reason for his sudden radicalization. The United States says it is not going to send its troops to Ukraine, but notes the incredible cynicism of the Kremlin, which is trying to link Washington, London and Kyiv to the terrorist attack in Crocus. But no one has yet equated ISIS with the Kremlin. But in vain. These red-brown excrement brought out the terrorist larvae through the forces of Primakov, the KGB and the FSB. Putin's task is to end the war with victory, preferably not a hybrid one. And this can only happen in the event of a parade on Khreshchatyk. This means that he will take Kyiv, Kharkov, Nikolaev, Dnieper and Odessa by any means necessary. Even if this means turning cities into ruins and packing them with a couple of million organisms. By the way, with the help of the same West, which allowed an increase in imports of nitrocellulose to Russia, despite the sanctions imposed by the United States. This product, required for the production of projectiles, is supplied through NOI, a company based in Istanbul. It carries goods from Taiwan and even from German manufacturers stationed in New York, who assure that, not in a dream, not in spirit. Sergei Ribbentropovich Lavrov hints that already in May 2024, it may no longer be relevant to discuss the legitimacy of Zelensky, whose presidency theoretically expires in April. Meanwhile, The new cadence of The Godfather is just beginning. He still has to pin down the old elite, raise a new one, showering it with honors, and force Europe to peace after taking control of the rebellious Ukraine. Unless, of course, the West breaks off the horns of the bald devil, finally recognizing his cave as terrorist. After all, after such recognition, the swamps can be drained with an open soul along with the evil spirits jumping through them.